To health, the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital in Nigeria's northeast is one of Nigeria's leading public healthcare facilities, providing medical services to countless individuals, particularly those recovering from insurgency. Recent reports have pointed to persistent electricity power problems resulting in dire consequences, as alleged by families of patients. News Center's Umaru Kirawa has been following the situation and now reports. Mosquitoes being killed in an incubator where prematurely born infants are managed at the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. The ward is in total darkness and all equipment that require electricity to function are powered down. The father of a deceased infant had spoken, claiming that the hospital's power problems led to the death of his child and others. He requested anonymity and expressed his frustration with the lack of adequate services at the hospital while calling for urgent improvement.
My son was having pneumonia. He was on oxygen. Immediately they took light, no backup. After some minutes, the child just died. I'm not the only one. It's 7, there are 7.
The increase in the bed fee at the hospital as well as other medical services is seen by many residents as insensitive in a region where people are recovering from the traumatic experience of insurgency.
They have even increased everything in the hospital. The bed, the oxygen, the drugs, everything. Even before you see a doctor, you have to give 1,500.
In search of a clearer understanding of the situation, I went to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. For a fact, the teaching hospital is battling with power problem, which leaves it in trail, pain and losses.
We normally have solar during the day, which maybe lasts about 5 p.m. or so. Then on the generator, which lasts throughout the night. Or sometimes in the nights, we might have some few hours without electricity.
I was at the oxygen room with 3 oxygen production machines, the special care baby unit, as well as the Child Institute, among others, where I interacted with some people.
With power failure, we are facing different challenges, but we thank God that at the point we do have some power supply.
The babies in question died in the emergency pediatric unit, the center where we are. That emergency we just left. And they came in a very bad shape. And before the doctors could resuscitate them, some came gasping. When we say gasping, means the last part of life. And therefore, about 2 of them died.
To be very categorical, there is nothing like babies dying at UMTH as a result of lack of electricity.
Despite efforts with the provision of solar-powered energy sources to meet the needs of critical areas in the hospital, the challenge has persisted.
So it's mainly the power challenge that we have than the number of patients. But we have manpower, having a lot of consultants.
We cannot say categorically at this situation that we can provide 24-hour electricity at UMTH. We do not have the capacity. I will call on the government to see how to assist hospitals, especially with this new tariff.
The budgetary allocation for the hospital for the year 2023 shows that about 242 million naira was allocated and approved for overhead cost. However, such amount is a far cry from the financial needs of the hospital.
The bed fee that we increased was 50% from 2,000 to 3,000 for adults. That was last year, August, and from 1,000 to 1,500 for pediatrics patients.
The power problem in this facility requires other forms of intervention apart from government bureaucratic process. For the sake of the vulnerable patients, and to check the possible loss of lives due to the present situation, quick fix solutions are needed, which may come through philanthropic gestures. On the long run, it is obvious that no segment of the nation can wait any longer for that sincerely serious effort to make power available and affordable for citizens. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Many thanks, Umar. To discuss this, I'm joined by Executive Director, Network of Civil Society Organization, Borno State, Bulama Abiso. Bulama, thank you very much for joining us. I don't know if you watched that report by my colleague and some of the submissions that was made there. What is your thoughts on improving access to power in that hospital in particular, before we talk about the overall state?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me also. Actually, I have heard the report very well. Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, you are, sir. Go ahead.
Hello?
You are, sir. Go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are on, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. The situation is very, very bad. The situation is very dicey. Thank God your reporter also take into consideration all the stakeholders in the hospital. And the worst part is the fatality aspect of it, where when children died, confirmed by the parents, even though the management were trying to say it was not because of an electricity. But however, it is very much glaring that actually that hospital needs a lot of support for them to actually give the required health care delivery to people in Borno State. First and foremost, the hike in prices is also another issue, which the civil society is trying to engage with all stakeholders to see that at this recovery period of the state, such a hike is not actually, is very much uncalled for now. Then the issue of electricity, if the hike is already been on ground, people are paying, the management also need to look into it very seriously, because that is the reason why you make the price higher. And if after even making the price higher, you are still not providing the required services and you are still complaining of the electrical services, then something serious must be looked into. So therefore, actually, there is this problem, and this problem is bringing very hardship to people in Borno State, and particularly when that person is a patient. So lack of electricity actually affects it so much, such that as we will see, some fatalities were also been already recorded in that respect. So I think the whole stakeholders of Borno State need to come together. Our senators, our House of Assembly members, the governor is also doing his best. But
specifically, what can you tell us about the efforts of government to address the power problem in the state, particularly in relation to the emergency gas power plant that is currently faulty?
Yes, currently the gas plant is faulty for almost 2 weeks now. Maiduguri has not enjoyed a steady supply of light, and the network also took up with some stakeholders in that direction. And to respond positively on that, yesterday His Excellency, the Executive Governor, actually addressed the people of the state by assuring the people that in a very short distance, this gas plant will be put into place for them, for the people to start using it. So, but however, a lot needs to be done. The gas plant, by all indication, it has, to some extent for now, we can say it has failed to some extent. So alternative need to be provided, particularly taking or singling out hospitals, very necessary places where maybe a complete solar should be provided for these kind of places, so that they can be able to at any given time run a 24-hour power supplies in that respect.
What additional measures do you think needs to be taken to ensure a more reliable power supply, particularly for healthcare? Maybe aside from government participation, are there other bodies that could step in to address the issue of healthcare when it comes to electricity provision? Yes,
I think the management of the hospital should also prioritize what their needs are. Because in Borno State, many philanthropists actually come in and assist. We know people like Indimi, people like Kashim Shettima, the vice president, and others all come in personally. They also give their own support. But many of these supports goes to constructions of special units, special issues and what have you, so auditoriums by His Excellencies and what have you. So I look at it as the management are not prioritizing what is needed in the hospital. So if they were able to prioritize, I believe many people will want to actually assist in that regard. So therefore, I will call on the management of the hospital, not only the teaching hospital, with other hospitals also, to prioritize power, then seek the support of the state government. I know His Excellency is very much on his toes every time, and then going to that, a lot of project has been actually put in place by the state government in the teaching hospital. So if they were able to prioritize it and look at the power sector, these issues will have been things of the past by now. So all what I can say, they should prioritize it, look at alternative source of power, that is through maybe provision of solar, which is very much what experts are also suggesting at any given time. So they can be able to use that if solar is being provided for them.
All right, thank you very much, Bulama, for speaking with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Reports of infant deaths should be a thing of the past in Nigeria, given the number of skilled medical personnel there is. To ensure that child mortality is reduced reasonably, health professionals have been given more practical training to tackle challenges during birth. News Centre's Chinwe